This video is all about using soft modelling wire in your Edwards Menagerie makes. So this is a new product that I hadn't really used until last year, and we're selling it in a 1 metre length. So it is an aluminium soft modelling wire, and you can buy a metre length of it. And a metre length will do one animal easy peasy. And if you're just doing small bits of animals, you might actually be able to just wire the few pieces from one as well. But to do a bird, which is the one that I'm starting with, you'll need 1 metre to complete it. So before I go any further, the big thing to say is obviously this is not suitable for use with a toy. So if you are going to add modelling wire to your make, it's very much if it's for you or it's for another adult and they are using this as ornamental on a shelf, on a bookcase, wrapping it around something so it looks great. It very much is not for use with a child. So do not use the modelling wire if you are going to make something for a child. But what it allows you to do is actually be able to position your animals and also allows them to self-stand. So this is the first one and that I've intentionally designed to launch the modelling wire as a product. And that's because the Major Mitchell cockatoos have these beautiful orange feathers underneath their wings. And in wiring the bird, what it allows you to do is flip those wings up so that you can see the bottom, but it also allows you to wire all birds so that they can stand. So I'm going to start with the robin, just so that you can see me wire a bird from start to finish, before we start to talk through a few of the other ones that I've got here and how you would use the modelling wire to position them. So if you're going to do a bird, what you need to do is cut yourself a 40 centimetre length of your wire. And 40 centimetres is basically the length that goes from the chest out of one wing and then to the other side. So to cut the wire, you can use ordinary scissors. This is nice soft wire. I'm using kitchen scissors to cut mine, strong scissors, but you can use ordinary scissors to cut it. But just be aware, if you're going to do lots of it, it obviously will blunt your scissors. So don't use your best scissors when you are doing it. So you cut yourself a length like that. And then what you want to be doing is going in through the centre of the chest with that wire. So you take your wire, you go in through the centre of the chest and you fiddle that wire along the length of one wing. Now, the wings are obviously done three-dimensional, if you see what I mean. They are hollow, so you want that wire to go down the middle of that wing. You don't want it to poke out at any stage, so just take your time with it. The hardest bit is getting it through that first junction, because obviously you're bringing it out of the body and inside that wing. So you're going through a few layers of fabric at the same time. And then once you're inside the wing, just keep going. If it comes out a little bit like that, tuck it back in and just really slowly, you will need patience for this one. It isn't necessarily a fast job. Fiddle it right the way through until you are out the end. And then this is the most important bit, is what you need to do is bend the other side of the wire, keep it as straight as possible. That'll make it easier for you to push it through, and push it through the same stitch that you went in. And that's so the wire will disappear completely inside of your bird. If you don't get it inside the same stitch, what you'll get is a little bit of the metal showing at the front. So straighten that wire up again as you go along, and then push that bit down and through this other wing. Now, I know it can look a bit barbaric when you're doing it initially. Know that obviously there's no animals harmed in the making of this video. And as I said before, it's very much just to a little bit of a finishing touch to make a lovely ornament, not something that you would ever do if you were making them for children to play with. So push that wire down. Do you see how mine's come out again there? Push that back inside, keep that going. You can always pull it to straighten it up too. So once you've got it through like that, you see I've got a loop. You can grab that end and you can pull it right through like that until that disappears inside that stitch. Then I'm going to bend it down and just get it to the end of the wing. So once you've got those into the edge of the wing, it means you can position those wherever you want to. And you can, because it's this nice soft modelling wire, you can move them over and over and over again. So it means that you'll be able to change the position as you go along as well. Now, when it comes to the legs, what you need for the legs is, with your remaining 60 centimetres, you want to cut it into 4 15-centimetre lengths. So you can cut it in half and then cut it in half again. So you've got short lengths that you can run up the legs. So I'm just going to do that like that. Fold it in half again. And this is to get your bird to stand on its own. And then what you need to do, straighten your ends out to make it nice and easier to put it through. And what I would do is go in on the tip of one of the toes. So I'm going to go into the middle one on the robin, like that. So edge that in and through the stitch like we did before. Up through the inside and all the way up that leg. Like that. Keep going. Push it inside the body. So you want to go right the way through the thigh and inside the body with that length like that. Then with the other piece, so you've got 2 for each leg, do the back. So you've only got this little back claw on the robin. Obviously on some of the birds, you're going to have a bigger toe like you would with the Major Mitchell's cockatoo, but still try and get a couple of stitches of this back claw in, because it'll just give it a bit more stability, moving at the opposite angle to the one that you've already put in. So do the same thing with that second one, up and through the leg until it just about goes inside the thigh. Now, I've not done a very good job on the video there. Take a little bit more time than I did there to make sure that that stays on the inside. But what it means is that you've actually then got a really strong, firm leg that you can stand up. So birds aside, it's also absolutely brilliant for using on other creatures too. So obviously with one, this is the mini gecko from the mini book. With one like this, I wouldn't necessarily wire the whole lot, although you could opt to if you want to. There's obviously also lots more reptiles. Kerry the chameleon is a great one to actually wire those legs and arms so that she can crawl up things. But you can just use small lengths like that if you want to. You don't have to use a big long length that runs the whole length of the project. You can just put a small piece in and snip it off like that. This snake has been fully wired down the full length of it, and that would go for both the mini and the large snake. And that makes it absolutely brilliant for arranging, if you want to arrange it as part of, well, a Halloween display in this sense, but you can arrange it to kind of go round a lamp even in your house or across the top of a sofa with a slithering snake like that. With the ones like this, so a classic Ed's animal, there obviously isn't really any call for wire on any of the other parts, other than potentially the tail would be a nice one to be able to put that tail up in the air if it was sitting on a shelf. Or with one with heavy antlers like this one here, you could always run a wire length from the tip of there all the way through and to the other side, and that will mean that you could position those antlers wherever you want them to be. Just a couple more ideas. Graham the octopus, a brilliant one if he does sit on your shelf, because he could hold onto things. It's a great one. You'd be able to, if you did wire all of these tentacles, you could position him holding on to different objects on your shelf, just for another little bit of extra fun. And the gargoyle will be an excellent one. In fact, I know that our Halloween photos are about to get even better this year at TOFT. Now we can freely use the wire inside, because Philippe would be an absolutely incredible one to fully wire, because then you can position it in all sorts of positions. You can do its knees up and it can hold its knees. So what I'd do if I was going to wire one like Philippe is I would actually use one continuous piece of wire from one arm through that body and to the other side. And I think probably as much as possible, like we did with the wings, I'd do that rather than use 2 pieces. So I'd use one long piece that goes up and through like that. And then I'd probably run some long pieces that came from the top of the body or even up into the head, so you could get expression with the head as well. Run a long piece that comes from the top of the head right the way through that body and down out the bottom of the toe. And that will mean that you've got a fully movable piece. So the brilliant thing about this one is that it has so many different pieces that you can move around. So I've just wired, as I said, between the 2 arms in one piece so that you can position those. I've only put it down one of the fingers as such, but you could decide to wire them separately if you wished. Another great thing is obviously the tail can be wired like that as well, so you can get real movement on the tail. When you've got ends like that, just to show you, all you need to do is really push them inside and the stuffing will protect them. So cut it off quite short, pull it inside, and then the stuffing will stop that coming back out again in the future. So pull it in like that, curl it round at the bottom to face it inwards, and then it will obviously stay within your make for the future. That is, again, just finished with reminding you once again that you do not use the modelling wire if you are making them as toys. This is very much for people to add the modelling wire for taking your own photos, but also for positioning them in your house as ornaments. So if they're sitting nice and high up on shelves, it's not if they're going to come into the reach of young children.